Pinterest predicted these 3 trends back in late 2025. 7 months later, the data's in and they nailed it. Today we're validating what's actually happening on Etsy, calling out the Printify products that fit, and I'm giving you my hot take on the angle most sellers are completely sleeping on for each one of them. Let's go. The first trend here is called pen pals. Pinterest described it as a letter writing renaissance, with Gen Z and millennials turning snail mail into performance art. They're talking elaborate envelopes, special stationery, stamps, handwritten, everything. Their words, DMs, your dust. Keyword here is handwritten everything. I'll say this till I'm literally blue in the face like this smiley face here, but I've been telling you guys for over a year now that the handmade element is coming back. With the rise of AI, everyone is tired of the AI crap that's out there. And people want to feel like there's like that humanity is back in the art form somewhere, right? So the numbers from the report, you got cute stamps up 105%, snail mail gifts up 110%, pen pal ideas up 90%, handwritten letters up 45%. Now here's what's interesting about this one. It connects directly to the Dear Diary trend we covered in the Etsy 2026 trend report. Analog revival, reclaiming rituals that cannot be swept away. When Pinterest and Etsy are independently pointing at the same human behavior, that's not a trend. That's a cultural shift. And cultural shifts last a lot longer than trends. The psychology here, a concept called reactance. When people feel like something is being taken away from them, they want it more. In this case, through physical objects. The more digital communication dominates, text, DMs, AI generated everything, the more a handwritten letter feels radical. It takes time. It's irreversible. You can't unsend it. You can't edit it after the fact, and you can't delete it. For Gen Z especially, who grew up entirely digital, this handwritten letter is almost a novelty act, and novelty has enormous purchase power. So we're going to search Etsy here with this little Chrome extension called Everbee. It's this sweet little tool that allows me to see all kinds of data at a glance. And they dropped their Christmas in July event last week where they're offering 3 months for just $49. It's almost half off. You'll see it in use throughout the video. So if that's something you think you might want to check out, my link will be in the top comment so you can get the most out of your Etsy research before Q4 hits. So in Everbee, I'm searching pen pal here. You can see it populate all these numbers here. This is the little icon here of a bee. That is Everbee doing its work. So looking here for pen pal, what we're looking for is how thin this category is relative to the search growth that Pinterest called out. You're going to find demand with not a lot of strong POD competition sitting on top of it. Looking like this one here, it's only 4 months old. It's got an estimated 16 monthly sales, and this is a grandparent-grandchild gift. So it's a kid's letter writing gift set, perfect for sending to, your elders, right? To sending to your grandparents. There's even brand new listings for Snail Mail Social Club t-shirts. We got Ocean Life Stationery here, and you can see 7 monthly sales estimated already, and this thing is not even a month old yet. Easily distracted by postcards, this one already has a favorite, and it's only 8 days old at the time of recording this. If we look at greeting cards, look at this skyrocket. You got 1,480 monthly searches, and greeting card set at 363. So greeting card sets are also huge here. We got greeting card pack, you got greeting card holder. Watch what happens when I type one letter here. I'm just gonna add S to make it plural. And now we've got greeting cards handmade coming up at 500 monthly searches. That's just a testament that people want that handmade feel on everything, right? So let's look at sets here and check these out. You can buy a set with free shipping, it looks like. Look at all of these different sets. You can buy tons of sets for different people. This one's 6 months old. It's averaging 12 monthly sales. So to be selling one of these every 2 or 3 days is pretty incredible. A single solitary listing. Funny bird sets. Look at this. This one's averaging 24 monthly sales. This one's estimated to be doing 7 monthly sales. 73 monthly sales here. Again, set of 16. Cute, funny little animals. 20 assorted animals. 17 monthly sales. Card set of 3 for $13. Looks like price has gone up a bit here. This is cool. Embossed here. 77 monthly sales. You got 5 monthly sales. These are product expressions that are actually converting. Look at listing age versus velocity. The sellers winning here built cohesive sets, not one-off single cards. On Printify for pen pals, and remember, 1 or 2 products max. Build it properly before you expand. Greeting cards are a most direct match here. A cohesive set of cards built around one aesthetic, botanical, gothic, maximalist, whatever your shop already does. It's a stronger listing than a single card. Price them as a set. margin improves immediately. Then we got hardcover and softcover journals. The letter writer and the journal keeper are the same person. Cross-sell these naturally. Then we got tote bags. A stationery themed or letter writing aesthetic is a giftable bundle play, and the person buying pen pal supplies wants everything to match and something to hold it all in. Another one I'll suggest on this note is the pouches. So you've got these kind of accessory pouches, accessory zipper pouches. These kinds of things are sweet. And it's the perfect item here to hold all your pens and pencils and maybe an eraser and whatever else you're going to do to create those cards for grandma and grandpa, right? You got some cool ideas here. This one is a bestseller. It's a pouch with a T-bottom, so it actually stands up. So if you don't have the zipper halfway closed, you're not worried about everything spilling out. It'll just sit there. This one, for example, the small will go for $7.71, the large $10. But if you have Printify Premium, which of course I'll leave a link to in the top comment, that cost goes down to $5.76 or $7.48, and shipping here is pretty cheap all day at around $5. Everyone's gonna see pen pals and go make stationery. Fine, here's what they're missing. The gifting angle is bigger than the product angle. Snail mail gifts are up 110%, means that people are sending these as gifts. It changes everything about how you list it. Your title isn't just stationery set, it's Pen Pal Starter Kit Gift or a letter writing gift set. From long distance friendship and long distance relationship are massive search terms with real purchase intent behind them. Build the product for the gift giver, not just the letter writer. Somebody who's going to buy this for somebody who is the letter writer, and you've just now doubled the number of people who might buy it. All right, trend number 2 is poet core. Pinterest describes it as channeling your inner protagonist. Oversized turtlenecks, vintage blazers, messenger bags, fountain pens, the aspiring author aesthetic. Gen Z and millennials are building entire identities around this one. And the numbers here, you've got the poet aesthetic up 175%. Poet core is up 75%. Satchel bags, right? Just talked about it, up 85%. Cape outfit up 65%, and tie accessories at 85%. 175% on the poet aesthetic is a big number, and this trend is powered by the same engine as a Vamp Romantic from episode 1. Book Talk, the dark romance world, these are all readers building aesthetics, and this trend is powered by the same engine as a Vamp Romantic from episode 1. Book Talk and the dark romance world. These are readers building aesthetics around their entire identities, and they're buying products that reflect that right back at them. There's a concept called identity-based purchasing, where people don't just buy a product, they buy a version of who they want to be and who they feel they want other people to see them as. Think of it more of things like introverts, right? It's things that you want to be known for or seen as, but not necessarily courageous enough to go kind of wear it all outside. Like the poet core person isn't necessarily a poet, they just want to feel like one. It's actually a bigger market than actual poets. It's everyone who romanticizes the idea of being a writer, a reader, or a creative. When you design for an identity that someone aspires to be rather than one that they already have, the buyer pool gets a lot bigger, especially in the smaller niches. That's exactly why something like Dog Mom outsells Dog Owner every single time. One is an identity and the other is just a fact. In Everbee, we're just looking at bookish aesthetic here. You got 1,224 monthly searches. Everything funny from books and coffee, a book a day with cryptids here. Read more books. All of this stuff is like on fire here. Look at this top row. We have, this thing is barely a month old. It's averaging a sale a day right now. 32 monthly sales, 11 monthly sale. This thing is 2 months old, just books and coffee. Another one, read more books. Super simple design here, right? 2 months old, averaging 74 sales a month. And Tired Girls Book Club here. Again, look at this one specifically now. These all have a kind of common element, 3 out of 4 here, with this kind of like wonky off-kilter fonts, more of the organic edges, and again, that human element to it. But look at this one here. This literally looks like it was scribbled on with a pen. That's what, filling it in with a marker that's running out looks like, right? If you remember the last time you wrote something like this with a marker, maybe 20 years ago. They did use font here for this because I recognize it, and you can tell that the 2 E's and the 2 F's here are the same, and the C and the C are the same, but they did at least warp these fonts a little, which is something I absolutely implore you to do. I do it all the time in our level ups. pop-ups, and Kindle makes it really easy to do that kind of thing. But you see what I mean here. We got, candles melting. Every single one is a little bit different. There's no clip art here. There's cross-hatching, which you never see anymore. That's the kind of shading by doing literally crossed lines that overlap to create the sense of shading on an element here. And this thing, 464 favorites, it's in 18 carts right now, 4 months old, and already 17 sales. What Pinterest is calling Poet Core is essentially dark academia getting a sharper, more fashion-forward update. Look at what's already selling in the space, and then look for the gaps, right? Where's the search volume, but where are the listings weak? That's your opening. Also looking at writer and writer gifts here. These are searches where someone is just ready to buy, not just browsing. We write at dawn instead of we ride at dawn. This thing is 4 months old, 17 monthly sales. Plot thickener, funny. We write at dawn, again, 3 months old, 14 monthly sales. Off to write, look how simple this is to create, right? Off to write, a little silly goose again. It's just got a ball cap and maybe some glasses because he's probably reading glasses. 3 months old, 16 monthly sales already. 751 views, converting at a nice 5% here. Front cover on a hardcover journal. I am a writer. I have days when the words pour out of me and days when the page stays quiet. A little testament to, writer's block. And you can personalize it here. We got a candle here firing off at sale every other week. Smells like plot twist and existential writer panic. Printify, you got your two main products here. Super simple. You got the Comfort Color 1717. Use it in their muted colors. You can even embroider. And that brings me to the second one, which would be the crew neck sweatshirts. And go with the bestseller here for way better price on these. If we chose manually, went to Monster Digital, for example, you can pay from $19 to $23, but with the Printify Premium, you're down $14 to $17. And the shipping's still cheap on these at $7, $8. But they also have embroidery, which is absolutely huge. The only thing cuter than this little goose thing is putting the same goose right here embroidered. Now it feels like a luxury item. And to kind of cap it out, the most natural product match is going to be the hardcover journals. Probably the easiest natural match in the whole series. Poet Core buyers want a beautiful journal. Full stop. Of course, tote bags and that kind of thing is going to carry right over and you'll be able to hold everything in it. The obvious move here is quote prints and bookish designs. Everyone's already doing that. Here's the angle that's wide open. Poet Core for specific professions. An English teacher who sees herself as a creative. A journalist maybe with a romanticized view of her craft. A librarian who takes her aesthetic seriously. These are real people with money to spend who feel completely unseen by the generic I like books products already flooding Etsy. Get specific about who the poet is and you're competing with almost nobody. And honestly, if you're looking at the trends and thinking, I know the niche, I just don't know how to make the design land, that's exactly what we work on inside of the Shirt Heads. That's where we take members' actual designs and redesign them live every single week. Link will be in the top comment as well. And check out this playlist here or here if you want to see what that actually looks like. The last trend for this episode is Wilderkind. Printify describes this as nostalgic childhood reimagined. Vintage toys, retro cartoons, childhood adventure energy brought into adult life. Gen Z and millennials are the core buyers, but the emotional hook here reaches absolutely everybody. There's a bit of a crossover here between Wilderkind and the throwback kid here. And if we kind of blend these, they can totally go together. We're looking at a little more like a wild kind of kid here. You've got, vintage nostalgia again, 1970s toys up 125%. The vintage toy aesthetic is up 195%. I did some extra background digging here. You got retro cartoon characters up 155%. You've got nature adventure kids up 85% as well, which is crazy. And whittling for kids up 95%. This speaks to this kind of stuff here. Well, you have a deer aesthetic, flower outfit maybe for men, animal inspired outfits. These are all seemingly wanting to be outside type of stuff. 195% on vintage toy aesthetic is massive. And if you notice how this connects with what Etsy called everyday exhibits in that trend report, early 2000s pop culture, the nostalgic nods to childhood again, that's two platforms pretty much pointing in the same direction independently. Not noise, more signals. The psychology? This runs on nostalgia marketing. One of the most powerful emotional triggers in consumer behavior, full stop. Nostalgia makes people feel safe. It reminds them of a time before things got tricky and complicated, a time when you were just a kid and free. And right now, with everything going on in the world, people are actively seeking that feeling out. The interesting twist with Wilderkind is that it's not just adults buying nostalgic things for themselves. It's parents buying stuff for their kids because they want their children to have the same childhood experience and that taste of outdoor freedom that they did. That's two buyer types, one trend. Mix that with a little bit of Gen X flavor there as the buyer, as the parent buying. It's the person who lived it, right? And that person is the one who wants to pass it on. That's the target for the buyer, but the recipient, again, is somebody different. So if I'm looking here in Etsy again, and I'm searching retro kids, just type that and you got shirt pops up. You got retro kids shirt here. We got dinosaurs, some throwback. Don't do the smiley face. You'll probably get a takedown. Throwing back to the days of the school bus, but something that also hits with the parents potentially from the 1900s, right? All of a sudden you feel ancient. You got some actual vintage type stuff, throwback here, made in the 90s. Simple type stuff, right? We're targeting the buyer of the stuff for the kids. So you have to make sure that things feel like something that the parent would want to buy as well. Literally from the 1900s, this is great. But you might buy something like a vintage shirt here that says, you know, feeling super for Super Grover for the kid themselves, right? You can even get a license from NASA to use their actual images and logos here. So this is a kind of cool way to throw back. What I would do is, you know, at least mute this color a bit so it's not super bright and have maybe a little bit of a distress effect on it. But you can absolutely get a license to sell NASA stuff here. Pretty easy to do, actually. And this is another trend that I'm just going to talk about here because I'm seeing it everywhere. And it's usually 5 things like this here. We've got, you know, the retro 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items in a row. You're seeing it here now with 6 items with Halloween, but it started with 5, but I'm seeing like a pile of stuff here. So now we're up to 6 and it's bugs, but they're all doing something related. And this listing is brand new too. And so is this one. So let's check these 2 out. Sidebar, right? But hey, this is how it goes. So 1 month old, 103 favorites. It's in 20 carts. Look at that for a hunch. 1,345 views. And this thing is pretty new. It's a bunch of musical bugs. How cool and cute is this? Hand rendered again though, right? You see what I'm looking at here? This doesn't look like clip art. This looks like something that was hand drawn. It's imperfect. You know, we've got different eyes on these. They're not exactly the same. It looks like somebody took the time to make a drawing of these bugs one at a time, and that's what's hitting home. And it kind of ties in, honestly, with the aesthetic here. We got the muted greens and the outdoorsy kind of vibe, right? I mean, it's actual bugs. And it actually looks really good on this ivory as well, or butter maybe that is. The vintage Halloween one, 1 month old. Look at this, 1,129 views in 20 carts. You guys notice anything with this? It's also actually arguably a crappy illustration here. Literally looks old, worn, hand-drawn, but then put through the ringer or the wash 100,000 times. This is also an easy one for POD. And what you're going to find is that the kids kind of target on Etsy is genuinely underserved by POD sellers. Most content focuses on adult apparel, which you're seeing, which means that the sellers who move into the kids products are often operating with very little competition. And if you were ever going to print for yourself, I vote kids merch because when I used to print for myself, it's so much cheaper to print something this big than it is an entire front of a t-shirt. I would also recommend you search up retro toy wall art and vintage nursery prints. The home decor angle for this trend is wide open and the margins on wall art are really, really strong. This is pretty cool. I would actually like something like this. It's a pinball game art print. It looks pretty awesome. The casserole dish that everybody's mom had. My mom probably still has one, but they all have chips in them because they've been dropped because they're ancient. Also looking at vintage nursery prints here, 998 monthly searches. Look at this. Silly geese, you can't get away from them, right? This is Etsy's pick. 3 people bought this in the last 24 hours. Hand drawn. Any of you who are actually drawing yourselves, look at this stuff. Very easy to do. It looks almost like a charcoal drawing, at least the black outline. Super simple to do. Nice and big. They're selling it as a print. You've got your frame options and various sizes here. 3 people bought this in the last 24 hours. 7,600 favorites, 361 total sales, and it's selling 18 times a month right now. I'll look at 2 more here. So this one is in 20 carts. Listing age is just over a year old. 22 monthly sales every month for the last year. That's amazing. 250 give or take, or 269 if you're going with the month 13. Again, super simple hand sketch. You can use AI to create this kind of thing if you have zero design skills. We got another one here. In demand, 9 people bought in the last 24 hours, 2 months old, 1,200 favorites, 11 monthly sales already. Your custom text, quote, or song lyrics go here. How simple is this? And I'm looking at this, and the O's here are all the same. So it is just a font. They have a striped background. They have this kind of stamp aesthetic cut out, right? Combining things that are hot right now. You've got the stripes, you've got that stamp aesthetic that's been hot for over a year now. And then they're just kind of like carving out a space for a text here. 3 lines. Your custom text, quote, or song. Select a size. So they're actually printing this. Various sizes here, various prices. And obviously you have a box to add your personalization. It's a bestseller. It's 2 months old. This is really easy to do. And it looks like, yeah, so the primary color, they're letting you choose the color of the stripes in the background. So if we go with a orange, yeah, so then it's the stripe and the text itself. This white card stays the same. Pretty easy to do in something, again, like Kittle. Very easy to do. Could show you how to do it if you want to come check us out. Well, they have wood panel painting. What? I have not seen this yet. That's cool. Look at this. Found that one by mistake. So it's UV printed. That's cool. This is great. UV printing means it might hold up a little bit to the weather, the elements outside. But what I wanted to show you was canvas wall art. So here we are. You got the bestseller here, 1.25 inch, so 1.25 inch matte canvas. John Doe, like I was telling you, the provider info here. If we were going to do something even significant, like a 24 by 20, it's only 26 bucks, almost $10 less than if you didn't use Printify Premium. And if you look at the shipping for the same size, you're at $13.69. That's 40 bucks, and you can sell these for 80 bucks all day. Nice and big, something custom, something that looks rich, something that feels like a part of their home, or go for your more inexpensive and smaller options. Vintage toy aesthetic, wall art, and retro cartoon style kids for print room and nurseries are things that parents are going to spend real money on. And with the Printify Premium I was talking about, I got a coupon code that I'll leave in the top comment as well that you can try their cheapo prices here for 30 days for free. Another awesome product that I like here is the woven blankets. So retro adventure or vintage nature kind of motif and stuff on these blankets is a premium product, and it works as a kid's item, but also a really nice gift. High perceived value, super strong margins. These things are actually pretty cheap as far as 21 bucks goes, and they look awesome and they feel premium. I'll also stress again the hardcover journals because vintage, adventure, childhood exploration, it's a fun thing to kind of keep tabs of bugs that you see in the wild and that sort of stuff, right? That stuff works both for the kids as well as the adult buyer who wants that energy in their daily life. Maybe even the bird watcher. Not that I'm getting old and like watching birds, right? Everyone's gonna go make retro cartoon designs and slap them on a tee. Fine. Here is what they're missing. The gift angle for this trend is enormous and almost nobody is positioning for it. Think about who's actually buying. It's not just a nostalgic 30-year-old buying for themselves. It's grandparents buying their kids something for their grandkids' first birthday gift. It's someone buying a "you're going to be a great dad" present with a retro outdoor adventure theme. These are high intent buyers who are completely underserved by most of the generic POD products. The left field play here is building a small collection specifically positioned as gifts, retro adventure nursery art, the vintage style kids keepsakes, nostalgic new baby gifts. Write your listing titles and tags for the gift buyer, not just the end user, and you're again in a lane with almost no competition and serious purchase intent behind it. That's episode 2, the nostalgia goldmine. Pen Pals, Poet Core, and Wilderkind, and the Retro Toy Kid too. Kind of like a bit of a bonus there. 3.5 trends built on the same foundation. People wanting to slow down, feel something real and human again, and reconnect with a version of life that doesn't involve a screen. That's not going away in 2027. If anything, it's getting stronger. Just make sure you validate everything you heard today in the marketplace insights in your own Etsy dashboard or using a tool like Everbee before you start building. The offer again is 3 months of Everbee growth for 49 bucks, pretty much half price, and that offer ends at the start of August. Make sure you like and subscribe because episode 3 is coming and menswear finally has a moment here. Brooched, khaki coated, and glitchy glam. If you've been ignoring the men's stuff in POD, this one's going to change your mind. Drop a comment, let me know which of these 3 trends you're going to think about moving on first. I read them all, and I answer as many as I possibly can. See ya!